Hey, it's HighTechDad, and today I'm with Matt Pahnke, who works at NETGEAR, and we're going to be talking about the ReadyNAS product. So, Matt, why don't you give me a little bit of background about yourself and how long you've been with NETGEAR and any other insights?
Sure. So my name's Matt Pahnke. I'm responsible for marketing of the storage product line at NETGEAR. I've been there about 3 years, and when I say responsible for the storage line at NETGEAR, we do everything from the model we're going to be talking about today, our 100 line, which is perfect for home users, all the way up to our 300, 500, 700, 2120, 4220, a lot of big numbers, but basically storage for medium-sized businesses, move into the data center, and we even have a ready data line, which works at the highest end of the data center. So stuff for the home, all the way up through all sizes of small to medium businesses.
Perfect. So I've been playing around with ReadyNAS now probably for a month or so,
Okay.
and I must admit I'm a pretty geeky guy.
Yep.
I know my way around a lot of different types of gadgets, and just sort of my initial impression of the ReadyNAS is that it seems like it's really geared towards a geeky household or
Yeah.
someone who is familiar with IT or networking or storage. Can you tell me sort of the insight behind this product and how it differentiates within the market?
Sure. So, you walk around the streets today, everybody has their smartphone, people are carrying their tablet under their arm, they got their MacBook, but everybody's carrying around a lot of devices. And it's never been easier to generate a lot of data. And what I think everyone finds, whether it be on their smartphone, their tablet, they're running out of space, right? You can only take so many photographs, you can only take so many high def GoPro videos before, you get the little blinking light that says we're running out of capacity. So we find that a lot of people out there are looking for solutions to that problem. And traditionally, or at least for the last 5, 10 years, one of the most common solutions has been, hey, I'll buy an external hard drive, plugs in through my USB, and then I can put 500 gig or whatever on that. Problem is, maybe that just fits the music. I still got my videos over here. I still got my files. So people end up with kind of a collection, at least I know I did, sort of my library of external hard drives, right? I don't know if you've run into the same problem
Oh
over
yeah.
all right. So what we do with network attached storage, or NAS, and so that NAS is network attached storage, is we're able to offer a much larger capacity. For our home version, we're talking as much as 16 terabytes. But that storage device sits on the network rather than plugging in directly to a specific computer. And the benefit of that is you have one NAS for your home that plugs right into your router, and then anyone on the network, whether wired or wireless, can access the files that are stored. So that means, my son who's in the back room, he wants to watch Wally on the tablet. He can be doing that in one room. My wife can be editing photos in a second room. I can be working on business documents in a third room. We all have basically that 16 terabytes of capacity that we access from various points.
Great. So again, back to the geeky factor.
Oh,
I've played with a lot of NASs. I have
yeah,
actually quite a few from some competitors, and I mean, so one thing that I found that's both a good thing and a bad thing is that it is very complex. That is
yeah.
to say, there are lots of configurations, lots of screens to go through within the web-based admin. And my initial impression is that a non geeky household could easily become confused.
Yeah.
I understand, a majority of the things I was able to set up shares and things like that, but I'm just wondering how are households adopting this, and what's the most popular feature,
Sure.
that type of thing.
Perfect. Yeah, and I didn't mean I totally missed the geeky side of that. I apologize. So, yeah, the reality is ReadyNAS does come from a small business background, and I would go so far as to say the technology that we offer for the home user is way above and beyond what the typical home user would need. It's an incredibly powerful machine, but we wanted to certainly but because storage is becoming more of a need in the home, we wanted to make sure that we had something, available at that level. One question I need to ask you, Michael, when you use or access your device, have you been doing it? So I realize this is a little bit confusing. We have a cloud portal called ReadyCloud.
Right.
And then we also have a local GUI or local kind of admin page, and they both look very, very similar. Do you know if you've been using the local admin page or you've been using the ReadyCloud portal?
I've been actually using both.
Okay.
Yeah. So sort of hopping between the two and trying to figure out the best way to present it to a home user.
Okay. So for us, the ReadyCloud portal is our answer to how do we make this a little bit less geeky for the home user, as opposed to the local admin page, which as you mentioned, has about 8 different tabs. You can get in there and see the speed of the drive. You can get in there and see the heat on the machine. You can go and toggle on and off a lot of different settings. From just an appearance standpoint, the local GUI has about 8 different management tabs. The ReadyCloud portal has 3. I think they're Discover, Access, and Manage, if I'm not mistaken. So kind of my first answer to that question, how does a home user interact with this most effectively? One, we strongly suggest the home user that doesn't have a lot of NAS experience be using the ReadyCloud portal, which is really, I can create shares, I can see my data, I can access my files, but doesn't really get into a lot of the more geeky kind of stuff that you referred to. The other thing that one nice benefit of ReadyCloud, and hopefully you experience this, is it does allow, at least in our view, really easy setup of the device. And again, if you set it up using ReadyCloud, you don't need to know IP addresses. You don't need to open up ports on the router. It's as simple as plugging the ReadyNAS onto your network, going to the ReadyCloud portal, which can be done from any browser on the network, and clicking a button that basically says Discover, and it pops right up. So yeah, we do realize that there are some technical things that make ReadyNAS a little bit complicated for the home user, but the majority of the functions can be accessed through ReadyCloud, and we tried to kind of simplify that for those using NAS for the first time.
Great. So just a couple more questions here. So what is the most popular feature of ReadyNAS that you're finding within a family household environment?
Yeah, as you've seen already, I tend to get long-winded on my answers, so I apologize for that. But even with this one, we find 3 primary uses in the home. The first is just consolidation or centralization and sort of protection. And that's what I talked about, multiple USB drives instead of everybody having their own drive and having movies here and music there and photos over there, putting everything in one place. And I think there's real peace of mind that comes from having everything in one place, because then you have a backup in case I drop my phone, when I'm out on the river, or in case my laptop gets lost or stolen. But I would say another major use case for the home is media streaming. This is being able to put all of your music files, all of your video files, everything in one place, and then access it from multiple locations.
Great. And you mentioned a third. So you got the streaming and backup. Yeah.
Yeah, the third would actually be the ability to share. This is kind of the idea of being able to very easily share files with other members of the family, other, friends and that type of thing. So it's kind of the streaming aspect, the protection aspect, and the sharing aspect.
Gotcha. So any tips or advice for someone who may be picking one of these up and putting it into their network? Any last tips here?
Because those are kind of the 3 big things, the ability to share, the ability to access, and the ability to stream, you want to kind of look for certain things within each of those realms, depending on which is most important to you. On the streaming side, DLNA compatibility is key. And obviously ReadyNAS is compatible with all DLNA devices. So you can stream things through your Xbox, through your PlayStation, directly to smartphones, that type of thing. On the access side, you want to make sure that they have solid mobile apps. It's one thing to be able to access the device locally, something else to be able to access it through the cloud. But you also want to know that on your iPhone or on your Android, device, it's a consistent experience, meaning it looks and feels the same as it does when you're local to the device, but that you still have kind of those same capabilities. And I would also say, because this is a little bit of a geeky thing and you're getting into it for the first time, someone with a really good warranty, good service, you can get somebody on the phone and easy to talk to if the need arises. I think that's key as well.
Great. Well, thanks, Matt, for providing that insight and information. I'm definitely enjoying the product,
Good.
and I personally like geeking out with it. I'm just trying to boil it down to something that others can hopefully understand and adopt.
Sure. If there's just one other area I could go into real quick, and
Sure.
that we haven't really talked about, one thing we are finding is that more and more users, I'm sure your audience, are using services like Dropbox, Google Drive, the whole cloud, concept, and taking advantage of cloud storage. That's one other important aspect of a NAS that sometimes isn't kind of top of mind with people looking at the product for the first time. It's this idea that a NAS can really become your own private cloud. And we talked about, the mobile apps. We talked about access through the web. With a NAS, you basically have access to your data anytime, anywhere, on any device. But unlike Dropbox, unlike Google, unlike Amazon, whoever you happen to be using, your precious data always sits on hardware that you physically own. You're not actually trusting somebody else to kind of take care of it, monitor it. And that gives a lot of people, a sense of security, a sense of protection, that there's a little bit of ownership, but they still have the same characteristics of cloud storage. So more and more, as people are looking at NAS devices, I think they're going to be weighing out, do I want a NAS or do I want to put everything in the cloud? And so I thought it was important to kind of bring up that aspect of the NAS experience.
That's great. All right. Well, thank you very much, Matt.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure.